Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith has hit back at Police Commissioner Alistair Guevarro, challenging his leadership and performance in a strongly worded statement. Griffith responded to remarks attributed to Guevarro that he, Griffith, was never a police officer, questioning how the commissioner assesses his own performance in comparison. Exactly, I agree with Gary Griffith, of course. He accused the commissioner of attempting to sideline performance and accomplishment, adding that leadership, not background, determines effectiveness. Griffith also called on Guevarro to disclose his own promotion assessment results prior to his appointment as police commissioner. The former COP outlined several initiatives undertaken during his tenure, including efforts to reduce corruption within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, which he said eliminated more than $100 million annually in overtime abuse. He added that he introduced measures to prevent the misuse of police vehicles. You know, like when people go in and police officers taking the vehicles to go and transport the outside woman and stuff like that and go and park up by people's house and thing. Right. So he added that he introduced measures to prevent the misuse of police vehicles, including GPS tracking, which he claimed has since been removed. That's why a lot of them could be going back and visiting the Horner woman and spending hours by it. I'm not talking, people might say, what am I talking about? You see it on videos all the time, people. You have seen it. It had quite a few, especially two particular ones a couple of years ago that became very famous. My response, even though I have concerns about some of Gary's statements and actions while he was Commissioner of Police, I had it back then and I still have them now. I must also admit that he performed his duties much, much better than any of his replacements, including Guevarro. We are talking about Erla. We are talking about Benjamin. None of them have been able to perform as well as Gary Griffith. Anyone who wants to put aside politics and their personal issues with Gary Griffith will acknowledge that fact. As I said before, I did have issues with him during the lockdown. Certain things that he said, certain things that he did. His reactions with people online that opposed him when he did certain things. I am not going to be a hypocrite. I do have issues with Gary Griffith, but I've said it over and over. I have disagreed with Gary pertaining to many issues in the past, but I've always acknowledged the fact that he's extremely brilliant, and therefore he can be a significant asset to the Kamla Prasad Bisesa administration. No one can say that I'm being a hypocrite. No one can say that I'm going back on my word. I'm not saying that he should be police commissioner. Everyone has a role to play in this world. I don't think being a police commissioner is the right position for him, even though he did far better than these other individuals. But because of certain little characteristics he has, when he becomes quite angry with certain issues, he may tend to overreact. And I don't think being in a position as a police commissioner, that is the best thing to do. Maybe, just maybe, he has matured more since then. Who knows? But I do believe, though, that he is best person to put in place as Minister of Homeland Security. I went on to say Guevarro, on the other hand, needs to resign due to his controversial statements and refusal to reform the corrupt TTPS. He's pretending as though he is this best police commissioner. No, my brother, you are probably even worse than Pastor Praying Mantis Erla. I guarantee you, if Gary becomes Minister of Homeland Security, the government's methods of addressing our crime crisis will improve. And I'm talking about significantly improve. We are not just talking about any slight improvement. The man has vision. The man is intelligent. The man also has common sense, something that is lacking when it pertains to Homeland Security Roger Alexander. I'm quite sure I won't agree with every decision he makes if he's given that position. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. That is the reality. There will be things that I will disagree with him on, even if he makes certain sort of statements or whatsoever. But he's the most suitable man for the job at this point in time. I think even Philip Edward Alexander should put aside his differences with Gary Griffith and say, Prime Minister, Madam Prime Minister, we need Gary Griffith on the team. Don't go anywhere. More local, regional, and international news up next. The Ministry of the People, Social Development and Family Services has provided more than $200,000 in home repair and disaster general assistance grants to support vulnerable households in the Princestown region. How often did you hear about these types of things taking place under the PNM for the past 10 or 9.5 years? And be honest with yourself, PNM patriots. How often were you hearing about these things, except for when it was close to election time? On Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, a total of 13 households comprising 40 beneficiaries received a combined $224,928 in financial aid through the National Social Development Program, NSDP. The initiative aims to help families repair and improve the safety and functionality of their homes. Minister of the People, Social Development and Family Services, Vandana Mohit, reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to ensure that no citizen is left behind. Whether you're in a PNM constituency or a UNC constituency, the Kamala Prasad administration will serve you. Just like how Philip Edward Alexander is going down to those places in Port of Spain, places that most of us will not visit. He's going there and he's interacting with the people and telling them we are here to fix it. You know the saying for many years now, Philip will fix it. Well, he has a position now to be able to do so. She said the ministry continues to engage with communities daily, identifying needs and responding with purpose, compassion, and urgency. Now, people will say, what's going on with him? But just the other day, he was bad talking to UNC. Didn't I say from since then that even though I do not agree with the fees and fines and certain taxes, like the landlord tax, even though I disagree with those things, I do know what they will do is utilize those extra monies in order to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So no one can be saying that I am backtracking or I'm switching or I am trying to please the government now because I want some kind of position. I don't need a position in the government. I love my country and I will always stand up for my country. A new multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art IVF and fertility center has been opened in Aranguez, expanding fertility treatment options in Trinidad and Tobago amid growing concerns about rising infertility rates. Did we hear about this under the PNM? Yet again, question. Did we? Yes or no? It's a simple question, you know, people. US $4 million has been invested in the new Trinidad and Tobago IVF and fertility center located at Plaza in located at Icon Plaza in Aranguez. Speaking at the official opening on Wednesday evening, the center's manager, Dr. Catherine Minto Bain, revealed that approximately 1 in 6 people in TNT is affected by infertility. She explained that the new facility offers a wide range of services in a confidential, which is really important, especially in this day and age of technology and internet access and so forth. And everybody want their business to be online. Safe, calm, and supportive environment. Regional news up next.
We've got this incredible facility that offers world-class treatment. Like you were saying, Toronto, London, Miami, New York, we have it here and we're better than a lot of those units. So it's a huge problem. Aranguez is the perfect location for us and we're here for the TNT population providing this state-of-the-art treatment that they need. But infertility is common. People are not alone. And so we do a lot of other things as well, fertility preservation for cancer patients, fertility checking, social egg freezing.
The IVF and Facility Center has been operating in Trinidad and Tobago for more than 2 decades, with its first location established in Marval. Dr. Minto Bain said the facility continues to record positive outcomes and is already attracting international clients.
We're already getting people from abroad. Of our positive pregnancy tests this week, 2 were actually, 1 in Guyana, 1 in the USA. So we are getting people from abroad coming here because of what we offer. Not just the state-of-the-art facility, but amazing TNT compassion and care as well in the staff right here.
Member of Parliament for Aranguez, St. Joseph, Devish Maharaj, said the new centre has the potential to boost medical tourism and serve as a valuable source of revenue for the country.
If this is the most modern facility in the Caribbean and this is a service that is so much in demand, one can just imagine what is going to happen. A lot of people will be flocking from other countries to the Caribbean to here, to the country, and of course to Aranguez St. Joseph. It's a potential source of foreign exchange. local and foreign exchange.
Mr. Maharaj added that government continues to support new, innovative and enterprising business ventures. Nicole Duki, TTT News.
The weather for Friday, March 20, 2026 in Trinidad and Tobago is expected to be predominantly sunny, hazy, and breezy. While the day will be mostly fair, there is a 40% medium chance of isolated light to moderate showers during the early morning and afternoon. Daily forecast breakdown. Conditions, mostly sunny and breezy with light hazy conditions. Temperature. Piorco, Trinidad, high of 31 degrees Celsius, low of 23 degrees Celsius. Crown Point, Tobago, high of 31 degrees Celsius, low of 24 degrees Celsius. Precipitation, generally dry, but brisk isolated showers are possible, particularly in the morning. Winds, easterly and moderate with potential gusts near showers or in elevated areas. Air quality, a moderate concentration of Saharan dust is present. Sensitive individuals should take necessary precautions. Sea conditions. Open waters, moderate to occasionally rough, with wave heights between 2.0 meters and 3.0 meters. Sheltered areas, near 1.0 meters and occasionally choppy. Caution, small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution due to rougher than normal seas.
Over the course of the next 24 hours, well, by now it's probably less than that now because this report was since yesterday, 48,858 central government employees in Guyana, comprising public servants, teachers, and members of the discipline services, will receive the 2026 national $100,000 Guyanese grant, cash grant, as promised by President Dr. Irfan Ali and announced in the 2026 national budget. Another promise made being kept by the PPP civic political party in Guyana. Everybody up to what it was only commenting. Where the cash grants? Where the cash grants? Well, you see, you get to it now. This amount to almost $5 billion of additional disposable income being placed in the hands of these public servants. And when you give public servants money, what you do? You empower them, you give them extra purchasing power in order to spend. They bridge the gap between the what? The wealthy and the poor people. Everybody knows that. When you give the middle class extra purchasing power, they begin to spend more and invest more, open businesses and provide employment for the lower or the poorer class. Last week, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, announced the commencement of government's promised initiative for every Guyanese citizen aged 18 years and older, noting that this first cohort will comprise those central government employees who have previously provided their bank account information and are receiving their government salaries into their bank accounts. Minister of Culture, Castraka Cupid, expressed satisfaction with the progress made toward inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage List. St. Vincent and the Grenadines signed onto the UNESCO World Heritage Convention in 2003. That's a long time ago. The UNESCO Secretariat in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is confident that the SVG and Grenada will jointly secure approval for inscription on UNESCO's World Heritage List. What this will do, people, is give them exposure to the entire world. When you're on that list, it's very significant. And therefore, a whole lot of other people around the world that don't really know much about St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada will now be aware of these wonderful, luxurious islands, places to go to visit and enjoy some time with your family, friends, or whoever, even for business purposes or whatever. Henry Rose emphasized that St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains committed to protecting, conserving, and safeguarding its cultural heritage. She noted that several areas and sites have been identified for nomination, and how that will benefit the people of these islands. It will definitely generate a whole lot more foreign revenue, the colonials' revenue, money that we need here in the Caribbean from the colonials. So don't despise the colonials. We need them to be able to develop our countries, respective countries, whether it's those islands, whether it's Jamaica, whether it's here in Trinidad and Tobago. Appreciate those that live in the so-called colonial countries.
The Memorandum of Understanding between the governments of Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines represents a powerful expression of regional cooperation. It establishes a framework through which our two nations will work together to guide the nomination process, strengthen scientific research, promote education, and ensure the protection and management of our cultural and natural heritage of the Grenadines. This collaboration reflects a fundamental reality. Heritage does not recognize political borders. The ecosystems of the Grenadines, the maritime traditions of our people, and the cultural narratives that define these islands flow seamlessly across our territories.
Our shared history. We hope that we capitalize on this technical training that we will work diligently on with our joint nomination file for approval by the World Heritage Committee in the next couple years. Couple there means 2 maximum. We have been working really long. From 2011 or thereabout, it's a arduous, insurmountable task here. We want to celebrate and feel the pride just like our Caribbean neighbors, Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, St. Martin's. Seems as though the list is not ending, but where is St. Vincent and the Grenadines? We have to be on that list, and we are working towards that. It is our wish that our respective governments would integrate heritage protection into national and regional planning, into legislation, education programs, and more. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our national heritage should extend far beyond our remarkable legacy of the Garifuna people. It must encompass our cultural treasures such as our petroglyphs, carnival, 9 morning celebrations, and our resilient story traditions, alongside our natural wonders like the majestic La Soufrière, our pristine Grenadine Islands, and thriving marine ecosystem.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Jamaica's Prime Minister, announced on Thursday that the country's minimum wage will increase from $16,000 per 40-hour week. Remember, that's Jamaican dollars, to $17,000 effectively July 1st, a smaller rise than the previously planned $18,500. Speaking during the budget debate in the House of Representatives, Holness cited the ongoing recovery from Hurricane Melissa, the rebuilding of businesses, and external economic pressures, including rising energy and shipping costs, as reasons for the adjustment. They just can't afford it at this point in time. The revised increase raises the minimum wage by 1,000 Jamaican dollars rather than 2,500 initially proposed. Holness said that the adjustment does not represent a departure from the government's long-term policy objective to transition from a minimum wage to a living wage. It's just going to take a bit longer. I don't have a problem with this. If it is you're going through a certain crisis, it's better than going and do what? Increase even more taxes again, putting the burden upon the citizens to be able to what? Pay the salaries of others? No. It is better to do this. Limit the increase in the minimum wage, and in time to come, probably by next year, God's willing again, as the economy begins to recover, you increase it again.
Madam Speaker, last year, we signaled our intention to continue the journey from a minimum wage to a livable wage. And we indicated that the next step would be to increase the minimum wage to $18,500. However, in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, many of our businesses are rebuilding, many households are still recovering, and the economy is now navigating yet again another external shock in terms of energy prices and shipping costs. In this context, the government believes it is important to strike the right balance by continuing to improve earnings of workers while recognizing the realities employers face. We therefore propose a measured increase in the minimum wage from $16,000 to $17,000 effective July 1, 2026. This does not represent a departure from our long-term policy objective. The government remains committed to transition from a minimum wage to a livable wage, and as economic conditions stabilize, we will continue the phased increase necessary to realize that vision of the Jamaican worker. So, Madam Speaker, July 1, 2026, the minimum wage will move from $16,000 to $17,000.
Barbados took part in a regional DEM Carib wave tsunami drill, stimulating the effects of Kikem Jenny. I grew up hearing about that volcano, underwater volcano. The aim was to test national responses as well as the evacuation plans of two schools, St. Leonard's Boys School and Eagle Hall Primary, which are in the Indonesian zone. Dangerous zone, in other words, I guess. Divisional officer with the Barbados Fire Service, Tremel Perch, said all went well at Eagle Hall Primary School. Let's just hope it never reaches to that stage where that that causes any sort of tsunami. We rebuke that in Jesus' name.
We were evacuated from this location at Eagle Hall to the Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints in Black Rock. The evacuation went particularly well, and the emphasis on any evacuation is to move from a place that is at risk to a place where that risk is less likely. So the traversing from the school to the assembly area, that went smoothly, as the teachers would have participated well in terms of managing the children and having an orderly passage from this location up to the assembly point.
How many persons were involved?
The children were 161 persons were involved, but then you had the teachers as well as the principal and any auxiliary workers as well. So it's a collective effort. Once you're on a compound, you have to account for everyone that is on the location. Yes, we had a response from the Barbados Fire Service, from Port Fire Station, which would be under threat as well in terms of its location. But we, in our duty, respond in order to assist where we can. And we would have responded also to the area of Latter-day Saints in order to make sure that there's accountability for all the persons who've been at this compound.
Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard is promising to tackle the Grand Lucayan sale in Bahamas if his party goes from opposition to governing party after the next general election this year. It's supposed to be. The FNM intends to prioritize buyers with verified financial strength and experience. Pintard has indicated openness to subdividing the 56-acre beachfront property to accommodate multiple buyers with complementary projects. Pintard has recently criticized the government, the present government, for a lack of transparency regarding the status of the current agreement with Concord, Wilshire Capital. Something like how the PNM only had a whole set of non-disclosure agreements with here, there, and everywhere. He promises a governing FNM would provide public timelines and clear terms for any deal when it pertains to that resort or that particular piece of or parcel of land.
In less than 2 months, we'll have a shot at this as the new incoming government, and we will find a buyer and set out a plan of action on how to revive the tourism industry beyond a single hotel, but with boutique hotels and other businesses owned by Bahamians in Grand Bahama to revitalize the tourism sector.
International news now. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she wants wealthy people to visit Florida and see who you can bring back because our tax base has been eroded. You wanna tell people to leave Florida, where it has lower taxes, to come to your city, to your state, to tax them? My goodness. During remarks at an event last week, the Democrat governor also said she needs individuals with a high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. No thanks. that I'm telling you, Democrats are really the comedians of this era that we are living in. It is definitely the end time era. We don't know how much years we have left. We are definitely at the end times. But they are comedians. They also don't believe in biology and common sense. Drastic drop. DHS says zero people, illegal immigrants, have been released into the United States of America for 10 straight months. As crossing plunged to historic lows under an enforcement-first approach, with February encounters down 97% from peak levels during the Biden administration. Remember, during the election period, they were saying how they finally acknowledged that there was a border crisis and they were going to find a solution, but it was simply just to close the border and enforce the law. They were just playing games, people. Biden could have prevented that disaster that took place for the 4 years during his administration. He chose not to do so because, of course, the Democrats had their own hidden agenda. Federal prosecutors charged 3 men linked to Super Microcomputer Inc. In a sweeping scheme to smuggle billions of dollars in U.S. artificial intelligence technology to give it to China, communist regime China, because I love China, but the communist government we're talking about. Using fake documents, shell companies, and staged equipment, officials said the defendants allegedly diverted $2.5 billion worth of AI servers, including $510 million in just a few weeks in 2025 to China. I wonder how much prison time these individuals will face. Now for the interesting facts segment, Finland is known for its innovative Baby Box program, a government initiative that provides every newborn with essential supplies and a safe sleeping space. The box includes clothing, blankets, and basic care items, and it can also be used as a crib. Introduced in the 1930s, the program has been credited with helping reduce infant mortality and promoting equal start for all children. For Americans and the rest of us here in the Caribbean, this idea highlights how simple, thoughtful policies can improve public health and support families, those who can't afford to buy everything or prepare for when a baby comes into this world. It's a powerful example of how early care and equality can shape healthier futures for the next generation.
Welcome to Real Conservative News Travel Adventures. Buenos Aires is a vibrant, cosmopolitan metropolis often called the Paris of South America for its elegant European-style architecture and rich cultural heritage. It is a city of many passions where intense soccer rivalries, late-night dining, and the sultry rhythms of tango define the local spirit. Top cultural experiences. Tango, witness authentic dance at a malanga, social dance hall, or enjoy a choreographed dinner show at venues like Tango Porteño or Señor Tango. Arts and literature, visit the Teatro Colon, one of the world's best opera houses, or browse El Ateneo Grand Splendid, a stunning bookstore housed in a former theater. Gastronomy, indulge in an asado, traditional barbecue, featuring world-class steaks paired with Malbec wine. Don't miss local treats like dulce de leche, alfajores, and the social ritual of drinking mate. See you next time as we travel the world together.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe, most of all. In Jesus' name.